So last time we looked at what happens when we multiply a matrix by a scalar. So since I've already introduced the multiplication of a scalar by a matrix, or let's say of a matrix by a scalar, so let's discuss some properties. Okay, so we see that whenever we have two scalars, we can multiply them one by one to the matrix. So we will multiply the scalar psi with C, and then whatever matrix we get, we do a scalar multiplication again with lambda. Okay, so this is the first rule, and the second rule we can try proving this. Okay, let's try to prove this thing. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll consider this equation. Okay, B equals B times C. Now, what will some general entry of this matrix in the ith row and jth column will look like? Okay, so we know from the properties of matrix multiplication, we will consider the ith row of B. So the entries will look like this: Bi1 and so on, Bin. Okay, consider this as a matrix with m rows and n columns, and this as a matrix with n rows and k columns. And we will consider the jth row of C. So the first entry will be C1j, and so on, and it will have n rows. Okay, C1, Cn, j. So the column index will remain same because this is the column, this is the jth column of C. Now what we'll do, we will multiply it term by term and then add them together. So in the sigma notation, it looks like this: k varies from 1 through n, or I should not use the k symbol here because k is used here. So let me use a simple, let's say x. X varies from 1 through n. So we have bix times cxj. This was equal to dij, right? Dij. And what I'm trying to prove is that lambda times bc is equal to b times lambda c, right? Now let's try to rationalize, like let's try to think of how will the entry of lambda d look like. Okay, so by definition it will just multiply the ith entry in the ith row and jth column by lambda, right? So we'll have to multiply this equation 1 by lambda on both sides. So lambda times dij equals lambda times bix, where x varies from 1 through n, into cxj, right? Now if you think carefully, it's a multiplication, and these are all the terms that are being added. So I can take this lambda simply inside this case sigma. Okay, so what this will become: x varies from 1 through n bix times lambda times cxj. Now since lambda is a real number and all these are all real numbers, right? So it doesn't really matter where I put lambda, because if I multiply them in any order, the answer will come out to be the same. And why I have written it this way, because I want to isolate this particular thing. Okay, so this particular thing. So what this sigma will tell us? Okay, let's write it again. Let's write it again. Bix and lambda times cxj, right? So it will seem as if we took the ith row of the B matrix and the jth row of this jth row of the jth column of the matrix lambda times C, right? Why? Because I can see that if I take the jth column of C, which was this, right? Let me put it in a different color. Let me put it in a different color. So this was the jth column of C, right? And then the jth column of lambda C will look like this: lambda times C1j and so on, lambda times Cnj, right? So this will how the jth column of C will look like. And By the definition of matrix multiplication, this is nothing but the entry in the ith row and jth column of b times lambda c, and this came out to be the entry in the ith row and jth column of lambda dij, and d was nothing but bc. So lambda times bc matches b lambda c entry by entry, because I have taken any entry in this matrix. Okay, I have taken any general row and general column. Okay, and I have proved that the corresponding element in the same position will be equal. Okay, so if this was bc and this was b lambda c, right, the element in the ith row and jth column will be equal. So I can substitute any value for I which is in the no, like which is within the number of rows in of this matrix, and I can substitute any value of j within the column indexes of this matrix, and I can show that for all such I and j, this equality will hold. And since all the values in the corresponding position are equal, the matrices are equal. Now moving on, we can see that when we take the transpose of a matrix with which we have done a scalar multiplication, right? So it will, okay, even if we treat the scalar as a matrix with one row and one column, right? This will, okay, so this is sort of writing this as that, okay, so this first equality is trying to relate this thing, okay, this property that we learned in the previous video. So I think we should not take it literally, because lambda, if it is a scalar, or I should say real number, then it would be a one by one matrix, that it would be similar to one by one matrix. But C can be any m by n matrix, right? And this column index and column number of columns and number of rows will not match, right? So I should not write it this way. I should rather simply say that it is equal to C transpose times lambda, because transposing a scalar real value doesn't make sense. Okay, it will just keep the real value as it is. So this is the correct way to look at this. Okay, now distributivity is nothing but, let's say if I have two real numbers, okay, and I'm taking their sum and then using that new scalar, okay, using that new scalar and multiplying it with c. So this will be nothing but we'll do individual scalar multiplication with the different scalar values, which are lambda and psi, and we will add them together. Okay, so just to repeat, the sum of scalars gets distributed as the sum of scalar multiplications by the individual scalar values or real values. Okay. Similarly, if we are adding two matrices and using a single real value to scalar multiply it, okay, so then this is same as multiplying that scalar with the individual matrices and then adding the corresponding values. Okay, so these are very obvious properties, and I hope this should be pretty clear to you. So the above distributive properties are proved here. So just to take you on a short walkthrough of this proof, it's basically taking a matrix 1 2 3 4 and then calculating this value lambda plus psi times c, and just multiplying in the corresponding entries with the same lambda plus psi value, and then it breaks it down into these terms. Okay, the lambda terms, lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda, and then psi, 2 psi, 3 psi, and 4 psi, and then just breaking them apart about this plus sign into two matrices, which are lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, 4 lambda, and which are psi, 2 psi, 3 psi, and 4 psi. So looking at the first matrix, we can simply call it lambda times c, and the second matrix is simply psi times c. So hence proving our property. Okay, so these were some of the properties of scalar multiplication of a matrix, and that's it.